Hello and welcome to the EFN YouTube channel. This video is dedicated to the BEWELL Project. The BEWELL Project is an Erasmus 4-year EU project on digital skills in which the EFN is a key partner. Its main aim is to build a movement of some key healthcare stakeholders for supporting, developing and implementing a new strategy on upskilling and reskilling of the European healthcare workforce. Its ultimate goal is to develop a green and digital skills strategy for the healthcare ecosystem that can be implemented at local, regional, national and ultimately at the European level through the Pact for Skills in the context of the Blueprint for Sectoral Cooperation on Skills. To go into more detail, we decided to interview the leaders of the different work packages. Let's start with the Work Package 2. The Work Package 2 aims to map the upskilling and reskilling initiatives for developing skills intelligence. The objectives of this WP are to gather relevant European, national and/or regional qualitative and quantitative evidence on skill needs for the European healthcare workforce, to develop a methodology for anticipating future skills needs, to monitor progress and the evaluation of the demand and supply of skills, to map the existing upskilling and reskilling support available in the healthcare sector, to inform the development of the skills strategy. We interviewed for you Ronald Battenberg, program leader at BEWELL, and we asked, the COVID-19 pandemic has created the exodus of nurses. How will BEWELL reverse the massive trend of resignation of frontline nurses?
Well, that's an important question. If we look at the Netherlands and the situation of COVID, indeed there was an exodus, but at the same time the positive thing was that it also increased the appreciation for the nursing profession. So in the statistics we see still an increase of nurses going into training. So that's the good news, but the bad news is at the same time the outflow of nurses has increased after COVID. So that means that nurses during the COVID crisis stay at the front line for their responsibility, but after that their outflow and their leaving the occupation has increased. And hopefully the BEWELL project can do something about this, but you need to realize we need to be realistic, you know. A BEWELL project is a European project. It develops all kinds of interesting products, but actually it happens on the shop floor. And so the challenge is to get BEWELL having effect on the retention of nurses.
The Work Package 3 aims to produce a strategy for the European health ecosystem, which has systematic and structural impact on reducing skills shortages, gaps and mismatches, as well as ensuring appropriate quality and levels of skills. The objectives of the Work Package 3 are to identify the health sector's priority for actions and its emerging occupations and related skills that are likely to develop, to ensure the health ecosystem has appropriate quality and levels of skills, to ensure that a diverse range of perspectives from relevant stakeholders, including citizens, and to facilitate the integration of the strategy at local, national and European level. We interviewed for you George Valiotis, Executive Director at EMA, and we asked, BEWELL is promoting more education and training of healthcare professionals, but how do you do that with the shortage of nurses?
So how does BEWELL upskill and reskill nurses given that there's a shortage of nurses? So the first thing again is that principle of making sure that we develop this strategy in partnership with nurses, in partnership with all the healthcare workers. That's the first step. And it means any ideas we have start with talking to health professionals. So in BEWELL we've got the European Federation of Nurses as one of the partners, we've got several other bodies that represent professions, whether they be nurses or doctors or healthcare managers. So we have all those voices, that's one part. The other part is we really, you'll see written into the strategy, which is available now, it's on the BEWELL website, that we've understood the challenges, including the pressures on the healthcare workforce. So if I just think about nurses now, we understand the pressures on nurses, the longer working hours, the stresses, the mental health intensity of working in these jobs. So that's been described in the strategy as being an understood challenge. And the way that this strategy can help is thinking, so how can education and training help in the mental health? Because as you can imagine, there'd be a limit to what any one strategy can achieve. And so what we want to do is, through offering better education and training, is at least make sure that people have better skills and knowledge to cope with the way that the world is changing. So practically what that will mean is nurses will have the chance to feel more secure in their work, feel more supported in their work, because they're being given practical skills. Instead of, here's some new changes, figure it out, we'll be saying, as the world's changing, we're going to give you the skills to be able to do the work as it evolves. And so that should give people the chance to work more successfully, more confidently. That's on a practical day-to-day level. On the longer term, it'll also mean people have better management skills, if that's what they're looking for, leadership skills, if that's what they're looking for, problem-solving skills, where that fits into their career plans. So they'll feel a better sense of career engagement and a better sense of progression and reward. And it is a balance of those two things, because I'm aware that the problems are many. If we can just solve that one piece through better learning opportunities, then that will go a long way. But we're also giving this strategy to decision makers. We're targeting, although it's by and for healthcare workers, so therefore by and for nurses, but we're targeting decision makers to make sure that they're implementing policies and legislation that empowers and strengthens working conditions and doesn't threaten them. So we'll be targeting the European Union, national and local and regional governments. We'll be giving them practical tools in order to make better decisions about how they support and adapt their healthcare workforces.
The Work Package 4 aims to develop the qualification matrices and assessment procedures. The objectives of this work package are to establish relevant qualification definitions, to extend possible present the matrices as transactionally valid qualifications in multilingual formats, to prepare assessment and validation procedures, and to set up, organize and implement career pathway tracking of individuals. We interviewed for you Rolf Christensen, Knowledge Manager at Erasmus, and we asked, how important is the contribution of frontline nurses in this work package?
I think that the frontline nurses are the hands-on representative, combining the theoretical and practical approach and being the real witness of what is relevant and what is not relevant in the training programs there.
The Work Package 5 aims to develop the curricula and training programs to satisfy the needs requested by the health systems and to help the digitalization of the national public system through the reskilling and upskilling of the health workforce. We interviewed for you Carmen Fusilli from the ITS, and we asked, what is the goal you want to achieve with the training programs for the well-being of the healthcare system?
Our goal is to facilitate the way of work, asking to the workforce to invest sometimes in a very short and practical courses to verify the competencies already acquired during the pandemic or to acquire new competencies.
The Work Package 6 aims to develop piloting, delivery and validation of training programs and end-user performance. The objectives are use diverse and flexible training delivery methods and processes, assess end-user competencies based on definitions of micro-credentials and metrics definition, adequately address needs and build on different competencies of end users by offering continuously updated modular content, micro-credentials for various learning outcomes, and certification procedures. We interviewed for you Charambos Samatis from the University of Thessaly, and we asked, do you think the core curriculum and training programs that will be developed will have an impact on nurses?
We hope so. At least in the Greek landscape, nursing are keeping asking for new qualification and new skills on digital and green aspects. So we do believe that BEWELL will provide this opportunity for the Greek nurses.
The Work Package 7 aims at quality assurance and evaluating. The objectives of this work package are to ensure quality and to evaluate the qualification matrices and assessment procedures developed in the Work Package 4 in concrete. The curricula and training programs developed within Work Package 5 in concrete, and the quality and efficacy of the national pilots implemented within Work Package 6 in concrete. We interviewed Petra Ziegler, founder and researcher at BEWELL. Ripeto quest'ultimo pezzo.
Ripeti da we interview perché sì. Sbagliato pure Petra.
Ok. We interviewed Petra Ziegler, founder and researcher at BEWELL, and we asked, the COVID-19 pandemic has created the exodus of nurses. How will BEWELL reverse the massive resignation of frontline nurses?
I think it's really difficult for one project to reverse this huge trend because you can see it in all the countries probably, and I think it's just something where we could maybe help and add on, but I'm not sure if our project is able to reverse this trend, but we will try to be a small part in reversing the trend anyway. I think what we're trying to do is the digital skills, so we're focusing also very much on digital skills, especially during the pandemic. Lots of people for the first time, elderly people for the first time really used Teams and Zoom and things like that in order to stay in touch with family and friends, for example. So there has been some digital developments that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the pandemic. So to see something positive in it. And I think what we try to accelerate is the digital skills also of the health workforce, and that could also help in the future, especially in rural areas where it's difficult for nurses to get there, for doctors to get there, where they have shortages, especially in the rural areas. So telemedicine, telehealth could help there, for example. And I think we try to support the development of these digital skills of the health workforce. But I think it's also there needs also to be a general impetus in developing digital skills of the whole population, because also the elderly people have to be able to use the telemedicine and to use the e-health, for example, and be comfortable also with wearing devices, for example, that would help them stay longer at home, for example. So I think we're going in the right direction with the digital skills and trying to upskill here, but also here I think additional challenges or additional action will be needed, I think.
The Work Package 8 aims at designing a sustainability and exploitation action plan. The objectives are the establishment of multi-stakeholder partnership, the identification of a governance structure, the setup of mechanism to revise and update the project, the dissemination, and the analysis of the EU funding opportunities. We interviewed for you Michele Calabro, director at Eureka, and we asked, how do you see BEWELL sustainability and exploitation knowing the EU healthcare systems are collapsing?
Well, I think indeed it's a big challenge to work on such a big project on skilling and upskilling while facing difficulties from the point of view of sustainability. However, I think there are two important elements. One, I think the expectation is to go hand in hand with keeping healthcare and healthcare workforce skilling included at very high level in the next EU mandate, so to keep it as a real pillar of the European Health Union, thus being a priority at policy level will also probably be a priority from the programming and the funding point of view, from the European point of view, and therefore also trickling down to the national level.
The Work Package 9 focuses on the communication and dissemination part. The objectives of this work package are to support the project vision, to engage with the full healthcare ecosystem via consultations to ensure its uptake and sustainability, to gather support from the full healthcare ecosystem and specifically from policy and decision makers, to widely communicate about and disseminate the progress and the results, to maximize uptake and impact of project results, and to support the sustainability of the project. We interviewed for you Natalia Allegretti, International Project Manager at EC Alliance, and we asked, what message do you want to send to nurses?
I must admit that even though ECH Alliance is not implementing actions that are focusing or targeting specifically the nursing sector, we work with a number of partners that can advocate, lobby and create the conditions to streamline the recognition of the nurses' work worldwide, enhance their qualification, providing them with the necessary skills to use in a proper way the digital tools that create, advances in the healthcare sector. Foster also cross-border cooperation and promote professional mobility that might also help this huge issue related to shortage of this kind of professional figures in Europe.
Finally, we interviewed for you Josephine from ESNO, the European Specialist Nurses Organizations, which is a key partner in the BEWELL Project. And we asked, how do you see the ESNO role in the BEWELL?
I think participation and involvement of ESNO in this project is key to the implementation. By representing the workforce, the nurses specialized, we are able to put some reality on the table of discussion and to see, okay, this is crazy, this can't be. But we also need to dream and to say, oh, this is open the book of possibilities. So ESNOs bring reality to theory, and so we'll really construct, because our process is really robust, within the BEWELL we'll produce something really nice.
Thanks for following this video. The complete interview is available on the EFN Spotify channel in the section European Projects. The link to join the EFN Spotify channel is in the description. See you in the next video.